All right. Let's go ahead and do this. So, good morning everyone. Welcome to the audio only version of Slow News Day Morning Edition. My name is Steve Poikin and I am coming to you from the middle of goddamn nowhere. The show will not be in video today. I am a stress case, and when I was leaving Sleepy's yesterday, I left my microphone and camera at his place. Um, since it's a 10 to 12 hour round trip, I did not turn around to go pick it back up when I got up to the farm. So the show's going to be audio only for a bit. I did check out the video quality from just my laptop camera, but since I had taped it for more than a year, the residue on it I spent way too long trying to clean it off and probably just made it worse. So rather than further frustrate everyone until I can get back down there, this is how it's going to happen. I did exhaust every last dollar I own getting back up here. So more than ever, it is vital that if you do support independent media, you at least consider supporting this show. The GoFundMe description or link is in the description, as well as the Cashspp and everything else. I would like to this week, if possible, get back down to my equipment. However, I do not get to make that decision. So if you can, please do consider throwing a couple of bucks either at the Cashspp or the GoFundMe. If not, please share the link. If you're not in a position to do that, holy fuck, do I understand. I can't buy coffee, so I am not going to be able to donate to anybody else's fundraiser. So I certainly understand if you can. Speaking of which, if the show is a little slow today, that is partially due to the lack of caffeinated beverages here. Also partially due to the fact that I don't fucking sleep. Let me grab that link, throw it in the chat, and then we can start getting to the business. Guys, I'm looking at the GoFundMe. I'll put it up on the screen. We are $40 away from hitting $1,000. We are a little bit further away from getting to about halfway to our monthly goal. And we've got about 2 weeks to hit our monthly goal. So not tracking horribly, just dire in the moment. Let's get into the news. Oh wait, what's that? Matrix bars. You guys know about Matrix bars. Matrix bars are a delightful mushroom chocolate product, 3.5 grams per bar. They come in 4 very, very yummy flavors that I'm aware of. They may be working on more flavors. I'm not entirely sure. But you can get your very own by scanning the QR code in the top corner of the screen, or you can DM them on Twitter or Instagram at Matrix Genetics, MatrixGenetix. And with that, I think I want to start with Chris Cuomo's bad day. I think I do. You guys remember how Andrew Cuomo disgraced former governor of New York City, the man they gave an Emmy to for his daily updates on the coronavirus situation there in New York, the man who walked out rocking nipple rings in a very tight shirt to pose for the camera, just to let you know that Governor Cuomo was a freaky freak. He he might have killed 15,000 elderly by sending them to their premature deaths in nursing homes, but he's not afraid to party. Um, and we have the pictures to prove it. Andrew Cuomo uh, is no longer governor of New York because of some old sexual assault allegations. It's not that he's a mass murderer. That's not reason enough to kick Andrew Cuomo out of the governor's mansion. He did not get booted from Gracie Mansion for being a mass murderer. He got booted for being a sex pest. And when all of that was going down, um, well, he needed some help. He needed some help in the media. He needed some favorable press. And what better place to go for it than his baby brother Fredo? So a headline out of Daily Mail, and this is all over the place right now too. But it underscores a I don't know, kind of a broader context of how power moves and how they use key people in the media in order to help obfuscate reality and keep you in the dark. CNN's Chris Cuomo ignores AG's revelations that he wrote Andrew's sex pest rebuttals during his 9 p.m. show, hours after the network said his fate would be decided in the next several days. So Chris Cuomo returned to CNN to host a show on Monday night after the Thanksgiving break and pointedly ignored revelations that he advised his brother Andrew on his response to the sex harassment scandal, despite Chris insisting he was not deeply involved. CNN said their star host's fate will be decided in the next several days after damning texts show how he helped his brother and used sources to dig up dirt on the accusers, moves that drew the ire of the former governor's first accuser. Well, you would imagine if you're ostensibly the most powerful man in New York and your baby brother works at 30 Rock in the CNN building and you're in trouble, who are you going to turn to help bail you out if your brother is got the flagship show at America's the oldest cable news network on the planet? Seems like a pretty short walk. Bombshell documents released on Monday by the Office of the New York Attorney General Letitia James show that Chris exchanged dozens of text messages with his brother Andrew's top aide, Melissa DeRosa. Let's see. The 51-year-old news anchor used the show on Monday to discuss Omicron, the new COVID variant, and the row between far-right Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar, the Muslim Congresswoman representing Minnesota. That's an interesting way to write that. The row between far-right Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar, the Muslim Congresswoman representing Minnesota. So you don't get to know where far-right Congresswoman Lauren Boebert comes from. You have to assume, I guess, because she's far-right, that she's a white lady, which she is. But that, they leave that out. Ilhan Omar, they do give you a descriptor that she's Muslim, because all of the other Ilhan Omars that are Seventh-day Adventists. He then discussed smash and grab robberies around the country and rising crime. When he was criticized for failing to mention the scandal, CNN's media commenter tweeted, "For what it's worth, when Chris Cuomo addressed his actions on the air back in August, he said, 'This will be my final word on it.' And he hasn't addressed the matter on TV since." God, he looks like a douchebag. Let's see. So they're running some kind of interference and obfuscation on the Omicron thing. So here's where the rubber meets the road on this. they actually have the text messages here in the Daily Mail from him. Look at that. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Governor of New York just grabbing up a little girl by her fucking head. Cuomo's also in trouble, by the way, for having his staff write his book for him. The book that he made, he got a $5.2 million advance on. And he had his staff write the book. He had like on New York City taxpayer time and dime. This is the kind of family we're dealing with here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the link for this. You guys are free to peruse the text messages as well. We'll take a look at a couple of these, but I don't know if there's anything particularly damning here. Chris Cuomo is basically just trying to run interference around what's his name, Rowan Farrow, prevent him from writing the bombshell story on Andrew Cuomo being a sex pest. And remember, you guys, even in the complaint about Cuomo using his own employees and using taxpayer money to write his $5.5 million book or whatever, even in that, it comes out that Andrew Cuomo is responsible for sending not millions. So I'm sorry, that is a gross exaggeration. 15,000 minimum elderly New Yorkers to their fucking early graves. In the complaint against him being a sex pest and that he was, fraudulently using taxpayer money to have his employees write his book, it is mentioned, not as a focal point, not as something that truly needs to be addressed, but glossed the fuck over that Andrew Cuomo is a mass murderer. I feel like it's important to remind everyone that Andrew Cuomo is a mass murderer. So hopefully Chris Cuomo ends up getting fired and disgraced and has to co-host David Axelrod's podcast in obscurity for the rest of his life. Let's see. Let me go to my sleepy notes over here. Oh, that's right. There is a CIA and Mossad agent in the National Basketball Association. We're going to talk about that. This is fun. And I'm trying to find some fun in my world right now. This I don't know if you guys know who Eric Alper is. If you're on Twitter at all, he probably friended you. He's got a show on Sirius XM. He's just a music guy. But he posted this last night and it just fucking cracked me up. Snowstorm traps Oasis cover band and the audience in a UK pub for 3 days. If you were to ask me, if you were to ask me, Steve, what is your vision of hell? Trapped in a snowstorm with an Oasis cover band for 3 days is up there. It's up there. What I do like about this, some of the Oasis lyrics that got thrown in here. Can you imagine if they were like, okay, just one more time, Wonderwall for the 735th time. You go into a band already wanting to kill your bass player. That's just how that happens. I would imagine that about 15 hours into being, I don't know. I stand by my tweet. There is not a judge in the world that would convict you for the wholesale slaughter that occurred inside that pub. That's good shit, Warren. That's good shit. I remember that, Ian. I remember that Oasis didn't even like each other. This is a cover band. Maybe they do. Or maybe they're really buying into they're committed to the bit, and the cover band doesn't like each other too. And after about 3 sets into the We're Trapped Here, they got in a brawl on stage. That would be cool. That would be worth showing up for. Like, even when the Dropkick Murphys were doing it and the show ended early and that sucked, it was still kind of fun. Anyway, that was just silly. And sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to. So I got a challenge for you guys. If you know anyone who can afford a subscription to Business Insider, I just dropped the link into the chats. Business Insider has this going on behind a paywall. A while back, they sent a Freedom of Information Act request to the FAA, and they asked them for the flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein's private jets from like 1995 to, I believe, 2006. Here's what happened, and now I'm going to go ahead and spoil it all because all the flight logs are behind a paywall. I can't access them. I can't go through them. If you know how, or if you have access to them, please either go through them and send us stuff, or help me get access to it, and I will go through it, and we'll dig deep on these flight records and see what we can't see. But here's what happened. So the FAA rejected the request, the FOIA. But in a later request for something totally different, the FAA accidentally sends all of the flight records. So Business Insider apparently has a searchable database that contains over 2,600 flights made by all of Epstein's private jets from 1995 to July 6, 2019. That seems like it's worth going through. It does. I don't know. What do you think, Sleepy?
I mean, it's behind a paywall. It's kind of moot point. It's not like we get to see it.
Right, I know. That's what I hate about this shit. I really do. There's no reason that should be behind a paywall, except for the fact that they've got
it basically without having to like charge people money. But you know, we don't live in that.
Yeah. No, we do not. A couple of pieces of good news. Craig Murray, the beleaguered and wrongfully imprisoned former ambassador to the UK from Scotland, close confidant and friend of Julian Assange, who had to do several months in prison for a crime called breadcrumbing, has been released. He is free, walking around, breathing the non-incarcerated air for the first time, and I believe 5 months. So a huge welcome back to the outside world for Craig Murray. Man, I really am looking forward to reading what he has to say over the next several months, because he has had a long time to just sit on fucking ice and think about shit. Craig Murray is a brilliant man. And I do believe that what we're going to see coming out of him is going to be some very, very fascinating reading. Sorry, I looked at my screen and got distracted. So I believe this is going to be going on throughout the trial. And I think it'll be a good time to go ahead and introduce the Ghislaine Maxwell segments of the show this morning. Let me go ahead and pull this up. And shouts to Whitney. If you live in or around New York City, please consider attending a protest against the cover-up of the Epstein-Maxwell network. Chris Hedges and Nick Bryant will be in attendance. This is what they did yesterday. Or I'm sorry, this will be December 4th. So we've got 4 days. So I'm going to get, what is that, Friday or Saturday? Saturday, this coming Saturday. I can do math. I can. Rally for survivors in solidarity with the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell survivors on December 4th, 2021 in Thomas Paine Park at 1 p.m. Speakers include Suzanne Azaza, Teresa Helm, Alicia Owen, Tiny Bename, Chris Hedges, Reverend Adrian Danhauser, and Nick Bryant. So, you guys, if you are on the East Coast, really mob this fucking trial. Have you guys seen? No, I don't know if you have or not. And my video shit, so I can't really share it, but I can give Sleepy the link and maybe we can pull it up on a separate share screen. I don't know. There's some video on that in that article.
Put it in the private chat. I can't get anything from Element on this computer.
Okay, that's right. Do. I don't even know if the video is worth watching on that, to be perfectly honest with you, Sleepy. We're gonna go through the article a bit though. So let me do that. Going over to this story. Oh, look, it's Ghislaine in court. Neat. So let's kind of go over what happened yesterday. And again, there are all kinds of people out in front of this courthouse. That's Isabel Maxwell. We've talked about her before. There's a tremendous article on the Maxwell sisters up on Unlimited Hangout that Whitney put together, I believe over the summer or the spring. I don't know. It's been a really long year, guys. But let's kind of recap what happened yesterday. Ghislaine Maxwell says Maxwell was Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime who targeted young girls for sexual abuse, the prosecution alleges. So to set this all up, all of you guys know who Ghislaine Maxwell is. All of you guys know who Jeffrey Epstein was or is. You know what they were up to. You know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was, Robert Maxwell, owner of the Telegraph and one of the largest media outlets in the UK. Also, Mossad super spy, received a state funeral from Israel upon his rather sudden and entirely suspicious death for really going against the Mossad, stepping out of line, getting a little bit too much into his own head and thinking he could make his own decisions. They took him out. They gave him a state funeral. His daughter got to watch that. Now she's in court. Maybe she's in court. We don't know. We honestly don't know, because the same outlet that I'm reading this article out of put out a story just ahead of the trial talking about all of the body doubles Ghislaine Maxwell has. If we have no actual pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell outside of her supposed mugshot, which is maybe a third of her face. At any rate, a jury of 7 women and 5 men heard Monday afternoon how Maxwell allegedly went after girls as young as 14 with difficult home lives, often daughters of single mothers, and would promise the world. Maxwell would put them at ease. Also, they could be molested by a middle-aged man, said U.S. Assistant Attorney Laura Pomerantz. There were times when she was in the room when it happened. Maxwell is charged with recruiting and grooming 4 underage girls for Epstein from 1994 to 2004. He died by suicide in 2019 in a Manhattan jail cell. Right. She faces up to 80 years behind bars if found guilty. So for this and for the duration of the trial, one of the things that we're going to be doing is checking in with this Twitter account and Substack, and that is, and if you've been keeping up with our friend Jason Burmis, is going to be familiar to use the Maxwell trial tracker. It's at Tracker Trial on Twitter. And also sub the Substack. That is free. We're gonna get some live tweets of what's happening in the courtroom through this account. I am coordinating with Kriston T. Harris, who was able to crowdfund successfully and get himself out to New York to cover this from the inside of the courtroom. Unfortunately, I do not have the ability with my new phone to get text messages or phone calls on my cell. I cannot coordinate with Kriston from here. This sucks, dude. You guys, this is fucking I hate talking about my stress. I have a lot of it. This fucking blows in the instant because the individual that I had made arrangements for to have updates on the Maxwell trial, because he is first person there and uniquely suited to describe it, I am not able to connect with him because my new phone doesn't have Wi-Fi calling. My old phone is a fucking paperweight. And so I don't get to do the show that we're trying to set up until I'm in a different location. I don't get to leave until there's a whole bunch of fucking crap, dude. Snowballs. It does. It fucking snowballs. At any rate, Maxwell trial tracker. Let's see. Let's go down here. So Lawrence Paul Vizosky Jr. was the pilot for Jeffrey Epstein. He was the first witness called to stand yesterday. Yesterday, what the prosecution did was sort of lay out, it was opening statements. They had a bunch of problems with the jury. There was a juror that stepped down right away because he said he had been prejudiced by people he had worked with. People he had worked with were overly familiar with the case, and were giving him information that he admitted to the judge may sway his opinion on it. So he stepped down. They had to replace a juror. I have no idea if that was orchestrated or not. I have no idea. I'm not even trying to speculate on any of that shit. We're going to tell you what we know and what we can prove. Other people are really good at building entire fucking villages on Speculation Island. Let them do that. Let's go to the Trial Tracker Substack real quick to recap yesterday. And then I believe at the end of this segment, we'll be able to go over to not we'll be able to, but we'll have to go over to the Rockfin, which is odd. I can do Ghislaine Maxwell trial updates on YouTube. I can sit here on YouTube and tell you guys about the global child rape trafficking network that has existed in various incarnations for the entirety of fucking modern history. We can do deep dives onto the origins of it. Talk about the American Crime Syndicate, Lucky Luciano. We can talk about Samuel Bronfman, the distilleries. We can talk about Meyer Lansky and the Jewish Mafia. But we can't talk about the Great Reset. We definitely can't do the segment on Biden's mandates being thrown out or at least halted. We can't do that. But we can talk about this. Despite no direct video coverage of the courtroom available due to federal case regulations, the SDNY courthouse is packed today for the initial proceedings and opening statements of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. So here are the charges. She has 2 counts of conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal sex acts, transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, sex trafficking of a minor on 1 count, 1 count of sex trafficking conspiracy, and 2 counts of perjury in her efforts to conceal her and Epstein's efforts demonstrated by a pattern of dishonesty while under oath. The second count added recently and not present on the original rap sheet. That's because those two perjury counts are in a completely different case after this case is over. Matthew Russell Lee of Inner City Press provides a visual outside the courthouse showing journalists ready to be funneled into the crowd overflow rooms and preparing to report on a federal sex trafficking trial with global implications. So shouts to Inner City Press for being outside and for doing updates and putting them out. Would like to see more of that from the rest of the independent media that is out there. I know everybody's busy, and I know everybody's trying to get their own, put their own thoughts together and put their own content out too. So I do have a lot of, I got some understanding and leeway with that. But if you can, please do. Ian Maxwell, the brother of Ghislaine, attempted to frame a defensive narrative for his sibling in an interview with the AP. Ian expressed attitudes that minimized the seriousness of Ghislaine's alleged crimes, claiming the trial is overhyped and misdirected at Maxwell, although he fails to explain in any specificity how she is innocent and instead proclaims her innocence with no reference of evidence whatsoever. Holy fuck, you guys. Okay, so I'm sorry. I blanked out for a minute, and I thought that I was reading this out of an establishment publication. I'm not. I'm reading it off of the Maxwell Trial Tracker Substack. Yeah, that's a heavily biased sentence, and holy fuck is it also accurate. Ian proclaimed, "This is designed to break her. I can't see any other way around it." Let's see what just happened there. Or I can't see any other way to read it. And she will not be broken because she believes completely in her innocence and she is going to give the best account she can. Really? Really? Okay. Despite Ian's claims, Ghislaine has an alleged history of providing false statements to legal officials to conceal her involvement in Epstein's crimes. This highlights the importance of drawing attention to patterns of perjury and dishonesty in the courts displayed by Ghislaine and conspirators in pursuit of favorable outcomes. Epstein victim Jennifer Eroz. I'm sorry. I don't want to fuck this up because this is a fucking human trafficking victim. Sorry about your name. I am. I'm sort of a nice person in real life and wouldn't do that to you on purpose. Provided a statement to CBS News this morning regarding individuals that conspired with Epstein and Maxwell's child sex trafficking operation, stating it was a huge web, a big enterprise. I want everyone who was involved to face their day in court and have justice. This next section kind of talks about what we already went through with the juror replacement. We have going on over here. So we're going to gloss over that a little bit. We told you. We were joking. I really honestly didn't know it was going to break out this way, although I don't see any other way that it could have. But we were joking when we came out and said that they're going to have to paint Ghislaine Maxwell as this innocent, unaware, caught up in a spell and lies and all this kind of shit, like she was just some sort of brain dead ne'er-do-well, not even a ne'er-do-well, a brain dead ingenue who had no control whatsoever. If you don't want me to shout you out, okay, cheers. Did just get a $25 Cashspp donation, but I'm not sure based on the directions if you wanted a shout out or not. But you know who you are, and thank you. I appreciate you. Let me get back to this. We were joking when we said that they were gonna have to paint her as having no idea what was going on, being totally out of her element. Ghislaine Maxwell is the real victim here. And skipping over what the prosecution said, because really we've all laid out the case against Ghislaine Maxwell better than the prosecutor did in her opening statement. Bobby Sternheim basically proved that when Steve makes a joke, Steve is predicting the future. Bobby Sternheim, Maxwell's defense team, started an opening statement with strange biblical references of feminine persecution and promotion of flimsy scientific concepts such as false memory. This shit's wild, yo. In an aim to shift focus away from Ghislaine's actions, Sternheim emphasized the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein, suggesting he was a master manipulator that Ghislaine also fell victim to. Sternheim then proceeded to praise the dead pedophile's positive traits and appearance, claiming Epstein radiated a halo effect. This was followed by wild assertions, which failed to be demonstrated through reference of evidence, that attempted to state the victim's only motivations were monetary, preposterously claiming that every single victim has been primed by public servants to seek unreasonable reparations. This is the defense's case. These fucking bitches are just so happy. We live in an overly litigious society where everyone thinks they're a victim and is entitled to billions of dollars in recompense for the mere inconvenience of being sold into sex slavery. This is a direct quote. Epstein will be mentioned throughout the trial. He is the elephant in the room. He's consuming the entire courtroom and the overflow courtrooms. You are not here to judge Epstein. You are here to determine if Ghislaine Maxwell committed these crimes. Epstein, I can barely read this out loud. Epstein had many positive traits. Attractiveness. He radiated what's called a halo effect. Ghislaine became his employee to administer his real estate like small boutique hotels. Like many New Yorkers, he wintered in Palm Beach. Are you fucking kidding me? Throughout the course of Sternheim's opening statement, Pomerantz objected on 3 separate occasions, challenging conjecture presented to the jury as fact. Although Sternheim may aim to discredit accusers, his attempt to failed to suggest the details of Maxwell's innocence, providing no explanation regarding her participation in Epstein's operation, as he claims, against her. Well, I thought Sternheim was a lady. Anyway, looks like a lady. Initial proceedings suggest the defense is focusing on favorably selected conjecture, stirring the jury's imagination and aiming to establish an alternative narrative to that of which is not supported by the evidence. Yesterday, the only witness that got called to the stand was Viskovsky. This is pilot who is now being questioned, I believe, as we are on the air. So I'm going to come back to, I'm not really seeing anything on the trial tracker so far in terms of real-time updates, which is unfortunate. Well, what are you going to do? This is kind of a great way to illustrate what's going on here, though. We got a nice how it started and how it's going. In regard to Bloomberg News. So, of course, here we have a picture of Mike and Ghislaine. This is Bloomberg yesterday morning as Ghislaine Maxwell goes to court. Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking trial is set to be one of the biggest of the Me Too era. But the jury may have to grapple with a unique question. Is Ghislaine herself a victim? Y'all, in the first place, it was the people who were doing all of the Me Tooing that outlets like Bloomberg went fucking ass over tea kettle trying to run cover for. The whole Me Too thing, as I don't know, I guess is like genuinely reasonable as it was as a hashtag or a way for people to communicate about the trauma in their past. The fact that it immediately got co-opted by the Democratic Party to fucking like run cover for or silence or shame legitimate victims of sexual assault just because they happen to be like raped or fucking grabbed up on by a prominent Democrat, not really seeing why Bloomberg would go out of their way to connect this to Me Too. Really not. Fucking cartoon, man. Fucking cartoon. Let's get rid of you guys. Get rid of you. What are you? Okay. Well, folks, we've gone almost 40 minutes over here on YouTube. And for the next couple of stories, I'm definitely not going to be able to have those conversations where they yank, censor, and otherwise prevent us from having them in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the Rockfin link into the chat here. If you are watching us over on the YouTube, why? They do. They censor the hell out of us. They roll back our like counts. They have demonetized us from making any revenue off of advertising. Not that we would be. They haven't let us keep a subscriber the entire year. They've frozen our subscriber count. At any rate, we love the hell out of you guys. We will see you over on the Rockfin. Totally free to watch the show. Click the link in the chat. If you want to participate in the live chat on the Rockfin, you can make your free account. If you would like access to the paywalled material and you're looking for a way to support a content creator, $9.99 a month will get you all of that. And it's